The story that's told around Camp Chef is you cooked on Camp Chefs before starting your restaurant. You tested recipes and things.
Probably for anyone who worked there right now.
Well, I'll tell you the real story of how it worked. So yes, I did start with Camp Chefs. So Camp Chef still, in my opinion, is the closest thing to restaurant quality equipment that there is. And matter of fact, I don't even say closest to, is restaurant quality equipment. And in the restaurant business, we're hard on it. We got a lot of different people touching it. We got a lot of different people with different degrees of appreciation for how to treat things, if I can say that nicely. Some people trash it, some people don't. And Camp Chef stoves, I still have. I told Captain Sparrow that I have some Camp Chef stoves that need to be in the Hall of Fame. They need to be enshrined at Camp Chef because of what they've been through. I don't even know that you could tell they're Camp Chef if you didn't go back to some of the serial number DNA that's on it.
Go back to the old cash cooker.
They're beat up, you know. Yeah. But the thing is when we'd open a restaurant, a lot of times I'd get my restaurant. It was my first one, matter of fact, my first Johnny Garlic's. We didn't have the health department permit yet, which means we didn't have the gas turned on yet, which means that we couldn't cook in the restaurant. But I was paying rent the day I started to take the restaurant. We were doing construction, painting it, doing all this kind of stuff. And I needed to train the cooks at night. And I only had 3 cooks. But we needed to get the recipes worked out. We needed to get this whole thing done. And the only way we could do it was, because the gas was on, is we brought in these Camp Chef stoves. So we put up the Camp Chef stoves on top of the regular stoves with a propane tank and use that as our hotline. And then we could do the mock training of where the line was going to be set up and how things were going to work. And that was the game. And that's how we did it all the time. And then catering, well, I owned like 10 stoves. So anytime we'd go catering, people would go and bring all these hot boxes with all their food prepared. I'd prepare my food on site. So it just became this, it was pretty synonymous with our team that, Guy Fieri had an arsenal of these stoves. I remember we did an event called the Battle of the Brews, which is the first big now it's a long-standing event in Sonoma County. And we go there and I set up, they're like, could you come and serve food? I'm like, yeah, you bet. Well, I come in with all my Camp Chef stoves and I set them up and I'm cooking pastas. There's 1,000 people there for this beer tasting and I'm cooking pastas and the fire department comes in and goes, what is going on? Well, fortunately, it was such a phenomenon that I was doing live cooking and making real food in front of people that they just stood there with a fire engine on the front of the building and a fire engine on the back of the building and firefighters at the ready in the event that this, whatever I did was going to cause a fire and let me do my shenanigans. I mean, that's really what happened. But anyhow, that all comes to this final moment. We're at a convention in Las Vegas, and I'm trying to kind of go through discreetly and with a ball cap beanie on or something. And I walk by the Camp Chef booth, and I'm looking at it, and I had never seen a Camp Chef booth. I mean, I just only knew the stoves from getting them at Costco or, get them at Sportsman's. And I come by, and there's all this stuff. And I'm just looking at it. I'm just jaw-dropped. And I just said to somebody, I go, you know what? This is the best in the business. I've opened restaurants with this. It's indestructible. And the thing is you back up your product. And for the price, I said, let them know I'm a big fan. And I walk away. And Reed Strathern, my COO, is behind me. He was with me. And Reed's is a tall guy. A lot of people like to think Reed's my bodyguard. He's not. He's actually runs the company. And the person taps him on the shoulder and says, "Hey, was that Guy Fieri?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, that's awesome." He says, "Well, my name's Captain Sparrow." He didn't say it's Captain Sparrow. He says, "My name's Brandon Sparrow. I'm the president of Camp Chef." And that is how the whole conversation started. I wasn't pitching them. They weren't pitching me. And we started to have this little conversation, and we just became friends. Massive respect. The entire team that pulls this off. And so now I'll take a turn for the worse on the friendship because they want to send me a pellet grill.
Oh, no.
I was inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame in Kansas City by the KCBS, by the Kansas City Barbecue Society. My barbecue team had won the American Royal. I've been around barbecue quite a while. I had my own barbecue restaurant, Tex Wasabi's, and no self-respecting barbecue pitmaster going to use an
we use an easy bake oven.
Yeah,
it's the equivalent. It was the equivalent in my mind. And Camp Chef sends me one. And I'm just like, I'm almost mocking it.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be real. The pellets have got to, how they put the pellets together, little rabbit feeders. They can put that together with plastic or glue. I want some of that gluey taste. Mm-hmm. 1 rack of ribs.
That's all it took.
Wow.
When you can put a rack of ribs that, in my opinion, builds bark, gives you smoke ring, gives you the set it and forget it consistency that you can with a pellet, to give you competition barbecue at home. I own stick burners. I own monster stick burners. You have to have a relationship with a stick burner. You have to know how it. That's the reason you name them, is because they really have a temperament and a style and a quirkiness about them.
Yeah.
Hot spots. You put these things together. You get this together. Out of the box, you're going to be a pro. I mean, you really got to try hard to screw it up. You really got to be good at screwing stuff up if you're going to screw it up on a Camp Chef Pellet Grill. And so I've been this unofficial ambassador and have probably turned more people onto it. And every